Boys and girls, how lucky am I? How lucky are all of us today to get to speak to one of the great singers of the last 80 years? Come on. I am speaking to, if ever there was a born singer, if ever there was somebody who right out the womb was born to sing and raise our spirits, I am talking about Miss Darlene Love. How are you today, Miss Love?
I'm fine, Adam. How are you and everybody around you?
Doing good, doing much better now that I get to see your gorgeous face. You look fantastic. You are just glowing today. How do you do it?
Water. Lots of water.
Let's do a duet right now.
Yes, only I put a straw in mine for my lipstick.
There you go. Well,
that's really the only thing I can think of is because I drink anywhere from 8 to 10 glasses of water a day.
Me too. I pee like all day.
My throat doctor, over 25, 30 years told me, though, he said, the best thing you can do for your throat is drink forced water. Just drink it all day long. And at first, it was a little hard because you have to live in your restroom.
I know it well.
So my body actually has gotten used to it. I don't have to go every 5 minutes anymore.
Right. Well, listen, I wish that we were here to talk about your tour and you traveling all over the country and all over the world, but 2020 had other plans for us. So first, I want to say to you, there were so many events that I was excited to see. You were going to be singing at Carnegie Hall with Carly Simon.
Yeah.
The thing I was most excited about, and I was going to make the trip, was to see you singing with Miss Patti LaBelle.
Now, that's a story all in itself. I've known Patti for over 50 years, and we've been trying to get together to work. So I went, wow, we finally got it. And we were laughing and talking about it. And then I said, uh-oh. This was back in February. I was getting back from my vacation, and they said, it's going to be canceled because it was supposed to be in June.
Yeah.
I went, dadgummit, I guess I have to come over to your house and just eat peach cobbler.
Yeah. That to me, as a fan of soul music, rock and roll music, and just appreciating the great vocalists of our time, to me, that was like, Maria Callis and Renee Fleming together on stage. So I hope that we still get to see you and Miss Patti together.
Well, we took that date and put it in 2021. So we can all hope if everybody wear their mask, wash their hands, and 6 feet.
Yes.
It's hard to do, I guess. I don't mind doing it if it's going to get us out of the house and get us back to working. You know what I mean? It's not. So I think people really, I'm bored. I need to get out. But if you keep on doing that, we're never going to get out.
That's right. We gotta behave ourselves so that we can get back to work.
Like grown-ups, we're supposed to be able to do that. Obey the rules.
Darlene, listen, you need no introduction. We have so many Darlene Love fans watching this evening, but let me say some nice things about you. Just let me do it. We're talking to Miss Darlene Love. She's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She is really the true voice of the early 60s wall of sound, Phil Spector's wall of sound. She really is the voice of Christmas. There's no doubt about that. It ain't Christmas if you don't hear Miss Darlene Love tell you it's Christmas. Star of Broadway stage, star of film and television. Obviously, we've seen you in Lethal Weapon 4 times.
Okay.
But most of all, you are a towering landmark of resilience in this industry, because every time you have another chapter in your career, you just get better and better. And I feel like you have not peaked yet.
Well, let's hope so. That peak's going to happen soon. But you know what? I really enjoy what I do. And I always say it's a blessing to be able at I will be 80 years old next year.
Get
And the
out of town.
still me and Tina Turner, honey, we're forever. And to be able to get on stage and make my fans happy, lift their spirits is really what I always tell my audience. That's what I'm here to do tonight. Lift your spirits. So I'm really going to miss my holiday season this year because it usually starts in October and then we go through all the way till January.
Yeah.
So I'm really going to miss my fans this year. We're trying to think of something to do,
Yeah.
so hold on to your straps, everybody. We're thinking about something to do, we can do.
Well, I know that you just joined Cameo. I saw some of your Cameo videos, and this is one way that your fans who are watching tonight, they can connect with you. I'm on Cameo, so I know what it's all about. But for those that don't know, you can actually get in touch with Miss Darlene Love. And if you're feeling down, if you
Yes.
have a relative or an employee or a family member that is feeling down, she will lift your spirits and send you a personalized video message. If it's a birthday, if it's a bar mitzvah, it's a wedding, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, I had a lady that called, I did a cameo with her. Her mother had just had her second hip replacement. Well, a knee replacement rather, but I had a hip replacement a few years ago. And I said, oh, she's the right person for me to call. She couldn't get to her mother. Her mother's here in New York and she's in Kansas City. And it
Uh-huh.
was okay, I'll do it for her because she needs her spirits lifted, even though she's been through it one time. Going through it again, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So she was just elated and excited. I told her, you do your exercise, don't overdo it, take your time. And I told her also, you got plenty of time. So take it slow, take it slow. So it doesn't matter what they want, except for, let's not get really crazy with these things.
Of course.
And, birthdays, anniversary, it's been amazing. And the people that have been getting in touch with me, it lifts my spirits too.
I know. And anything that we can do as performers to help people get through these times,
Yeah.
it's a blessing to have the technology during this time that
Yes.
we can make these connections. Like I get to sit here and speak to you today.
Well, another thing I did for my fans, I had dinner with them.
Tell us about that.
Live, it was wonderful. I told them, I'll say, cook whatever you like, whatever your dish is, and have your glass of wine. And we sat for 30 minutes and had dinner, and they can talk to me. I can't hear them, but they can talk to me. They write all these messages and I tell them, slow down now. I have to really look careful. This writing is very small.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun for me, and we come up with ideas we can do to them, just do for them, and we know a lot of the people are at home by themselves. Those are the ones that, I want to help.
Yes.
All locked in, but a lot of us are not locked in by ourselves. At least I have my husband here. Some people have their boyfriend or whatever, but people that are alone, that's the worst thing that could happen to anybody today with everything that's going on, especially those that are sick.
Yeah.
The parents, you can't go and see them. You can't hold your hand. Usually when somebody is ill, you can at least go to the hospital and see them, hold their hand, but this is what's so devastating about what's going on now. So we as entertainers, just like you said, we have to think of things out of the box now.
That's right.
Friends.
That's right. So anybody watching today, watching this program, if your spirits are low, you can bring Darlene Love into your house. She's going to sing that hip replacement song right to you.
Yes.
Rachel Rosenblatt, if she's having a bat mitzvah, Darlene Love can sing her the happy bat mitzvah song.
I have to go and find it.
Yeah. Boys and girls, tough cookies. We're speaking to Miss Darlene Love, one of the great singers of all time. Darlene, I want to go back, if I may, to the beginning of your career. You're from Los Angeles, and you were in a group called the Blossoms. And maybe not everybody knows the name The Blossoms, but if they listen to the radio any time in the last 60 years, they've heard The Blossoms,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
I mean, between your solo career and the early work with the Blossoms, you sang on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, so many hit songs.
Right.
Some of them you got credit for, and some of them you did not.
Well, a lot of them we did not. We're getting it now, all these years later, because they found a way to get us royalties,
Yeah.
as backup singers. So it's working out pretty good. And then back in those days, it was so new. It was so brand new with recording. They didn't know what to do or what to say on the records about the people that were on the record, other than
Right.
the singer or, the person that's out front, 20 feet from stardom.
Yes.
So,
And
it was fun for us because we got to meet so many great entertainers and they treated us with so much respect. It's like, well, we're just happy to have you guys on our record. I said, well, I think it's the other way around. We're happy to be on yours, But that's what I think what made it so great. And I still do it. The last couple of sessions that I did with people that I adore, Luther Vandross, who's no longer with us, and Aretha Franklin. I did background sessions for them, but it wasn't like background. It was like, you're part of the record,
yes,
So it was fabulous.
I've heard you say that Luther never went into the studio without you. I mean, you did quite a lot of work with Luther. Is that right?
I did. I met him, so many years ago. And before he became a star, if you watch 20 Feet from Stardom, he was a background singer.
Yeah, David Bowie. He sang for David Bowie, and yeah.
So his heart, like my heart, is for background singers. I tell everybody, my background singers get treated better than anybody in the show. It doesn't matter, the musicians, it's my singers, because I know how it is to be a background singer, especially when the people behind you they're not treated fairly. It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But we were so blessed to be able to be treated like they got treated.
What do you remember about singing background for the great Marvin Gaye on the Tammy Show? What was that like?
You know what? To meet Marvin Gaye, it's almost like this is not real. Because we were a fan of all the Motown singers anyway. But Marvin was just so cool. And everything wasn't fine for him. There was nothing you could do that would be wrong. He just, yeah, this is great. This is cool, And I did a gig with him once and he didn't have his singers with him. And I said, we'll back you up. And we did, because the background on all of Marvin's records were fabulous.
Fabulous, yeah.
It made us a kindred. We had the kindred spirit, So, and Marvin was always a guy that was easy to work for. Everything was just okay. Just take your time, ladies. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to do this. And we had the longest sessions with Marvin because he was always fooling around. But I think that's what made it so wonderful to be able to work with a star like Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, I speak about Sam Cooke quite a lot on this program because not only was he truly one of the greatest vocalists and entertainers of all time, but he was very heavily involved in the civil rights movement, and he composed A Change Is Gonna Come, which is a song that just last night, Jennifer Hudson sang amazing last night on television. Can you give us a few words about what it was like to work with Sam Cooke?
You know what? We go back so much further than rock and roll music or secular music. We go back to our gospel roots because I knew Sam when he was one of the original soul stirrers.
Yes.
We worked for. And we kind of went through the same thing, not so much from our parents, because my father was a minister and so was Sam's father was a minister. And it wasn't our parents that gave us the trouble. It was their people.
Right.
Letting them sing secular music. That's the devil's music. They shouldn't just be singing to the Lord. I said, you know what? God gave us these voices and these talents. He didn't tell us to put them in a box. You want to put them in the box.
Right.
So Sam had a much harder time, I think, than I did because he was a well-known gospel singer.
Yeah, he was a very big star. Touch the hem of his garment.
I was all of those songs.
Yeah, amazing.
And I think that's why he had a more difficult time than I did, because I wasn't a star as a a gospel singer.
Right.
You know, my biggest challenge, we did a television show called Shindig back in
Oh,
the,
yeah.
and after the show was over, the people from church would call my father. Why are you letting her sing that music? You know, that's not right. And then what was wonderful about my father, he would tell me, why were you watching it? Had you not been watching it, you never would have seen her.
Yeah, you're watching
So,
it.
exactly. It's okay for you to watch it, but it's not okay for her to do it.
Yeah.
So me and Sam had a lot of that. And like I said, he was one of those smooth guys too, you know, very soft spoken. Whatever the background was, he loved it, you know, and he always praised us about how great the background singing was. So, you know, we had that relationship with Sam because that was early on in our background singing days too, you know,
Yes.
the late 50s when we were working with Sam. So, you know, to watch him grow the way he did, amazing. And he always wanted to be a producer. That was the other
Yeah.
thing that was great about Sam. He wanted to find new talent. You know, I said, honey, you just need to sing. Okay, come on, let's be real. Get back in that studio and record some more music, because what's greater than a change is going to come?
The
That record
best.
was recorded over 50 years ago, and it's like today.
It's like it was written 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, it's amazing how great that record is and how you can put it anywhere in any situation, because in life, we know a change is going to come. What it's
Right.
going to be, we don't know, but we know a change is going to come.
I spoke to our pal Dion a couple of weeks ago on this program, and he spoke to me about touring with Sam Cooke, who he idolized in a segregated Jim Crow South. They could not stay in the same hotels. And he said that, you know, as a kid from the Bronx, he really learned a lot about discrimination, not just in, you know, in society, but in the music business.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, I know you've spoken a little bit about, for instance, when you were on Shindig, how they did not have the proper makeup for you. What was it like to be a Black singer in the early 60s in segregated America?
You know, if people didn't see you, it wasn't that big a thing. I think that's why Phil Spector was so good at what he was doing with us. Nobody ever saw pictures of the Crystals or the Ronettes or Darlene Love or the Blossoms, but they loved our voices. So it wasn't that. But the minute we got on Shindig, the fight to be on Shindig was the show was going to be the first rock and roll international show. It's going to go in everybody's houses. And they thought, well, the people wouldn't watch the show if there was a Black group on it every week. And we're talking about 1964, 65. You know, like that really wasn't that long ago. You know, it should have been over by then. But they
Yes.
still had those stoppages. They had one kind of makeup for it was 3 different shades of Black when we did that show. I was the light complected. Then we have Gene King, who we loved, was really dark. You know what I'm saying? But they had one shade for all of us, you know, and it was like amazing. Thank God shows were in black and white then. Can you imagine if that would have been in color?
Unbelievable. Thank you for sharing. I mean, another early struggle of your career, you had one of these absolutely show-stopping voices. But even though Phil Spector recognized your talent, you were sort of his ace in the hole. If you were on the record, it was really a hit. You really had trouble getting credit for the work you were doing. And you would sing, you know, He's a Rebel, and then you'd hear it on the radio and you would not be credited. I'm wondering if you could speak for 1 second what it was like to sort of be in the shadows.
You know, I was in the shadows singing background, so it didn't bother me. I knew Phil Spector wanted that record to be for the Crystals. He wanted to get a version of He's a Rebel out before Linda Carr got her version out, because she recorded it first. And the Crystals were just like 14, 15, 16 years of age, and their parents would not let them fly to California. And so Phil just went into the studio, paid me an unbelievable amount of money to sing the lead of it. When you hear it on the radio, you really kind of feel like, oh, wow, that's me. And then when it became a hit, I went, it's really me.
Yeah.
But the next, I think what hurt me so bad with Phil Spector was the next record that we put out. It was supposed to be Darlene Love's first single. And
Yeah.
that one out, He's Sure the Boy I Love. And he put it out under the name of the Crystals. So, that really I started really having bad feelings. Me and Phil
Yeah.
Spector were not getting along. And I got to the place where I said, you know what? I don't need no yada, yada, yada record career solo. I'm a great background singer and they want me. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank God I didn't have to depend on Phil Spector to have a life in music because
Yes.
I had one. I was a great background singer and I had a lot of background friends, like the Sweet Inspirations. To be with Cissy Houston and Dionne Warwick and Dionne's sister Dee Dee Warwick and sing, are you kidding me?
Darlene,
We did well.
did you sing? Am I right that you sang with Elvis on the '68 comeback special?
Yes. We actually, because of our gospel background, Elvis said, well, I want them in it. We were singing, but he said, I want them to appear in it. And it was because of Elvis that we actually sung the gospel part of that special with Elvis. So it was
Fabulous.
him. Yeah.
So eventually, you reached a point in your career where things weren't swinging like they used to. And there's obviously a very famous story that's been told many times that you were working cleaning other people's houses and you heard your own voice in the radio.
Yes.
And I wonder if you imagined at that moment that was sort of the beginning of your career, not the end. Did you
Right.
know at that moment that the best was yet to come?
I did not at the time, but when the record came on the radio and I was cleaning, I said to myself, this is not that there's anything wrong with cleaning, but I
Right.
also had another talent that God gave me. And I do believe he meant for me to use it and to share it. So from that point till today, I just made a determination that I'm going to sing, I'm going to be a solo artist, and you can't happen what happened behind you. You can't even look at it. It happened, it's over. Now let's forge ahead. And that's what I really did, no matter what. And believe me, I didn't have no whole lot of money to do it, but I had the heart. And I think God sees that. He sees your heart and what you're doing and what you're trying to do. My first job I got almost as a solo singer was on a cruise ship. And I mean, it was my determination to be a singer. So wherever I could sing, I was going to sing. And I started singing on a cruise ship. And by the time I stayed on that ship for almost 2.5 years, off and on, and they didn't want me to leave. But now my career is that people are finding out, the people that came on the ship, that Darlene Love was on board. So
Wow.
I started getting calls from producers to work. So, that was the beginning of it. And my determination and my prayer was, this is what I'm going to do. And it's water over the dam. Let's just forge ahead. And the more determined I got to be a solo artist, the more my career started opening up as a solo artist.
This is why I admire you so much, Darlene Love, not just for your talent, but your resilience. You have pivoted 900 times.
Yeah.
And you're pivoting now. You're on Cameo. You're live streaming with us, right?
Yes.
You are sitting there trying to come up with ways to reach your fans in a 21st century, 60 years after you got into this business. And you have a God-given talent, but you also have a God-given drive to succeed and get out there. And I really admire you for that. I wanted to pivot to Christmas for a second because I'm concerned that Christmas isn't going to feel as much like Christmas this year. It's going to be different. But you are the voice of Christmas. You are the voice of Christmas.
That's for sure. It's going to be different. But I've been talking to my manager and talking to my my publicist, and we're trying to. I don't want to give everybody hope that we're going to do something, but we're working on something this time. And since we have the Zoom and we have all of this that's going on for us, this is our life today. Well, when we know this as entertainers, we have to think outside the box and come up with ideas to keep people safe, keep us safe, keep you safe, and keep our audience, our fans safe. So we have to think out of the box and come up with ideas. So we're throwing a lot of ideas around because Christmas is my signature.
Yes. You sang Christmas Baby Please Come Home on the David Letterman show the better part of 30 years.
Yeah.
You've done it on The View. When you first started doing that, who asked who? Did Paul Schaefer come to you? Did David Letterman come to you? How did that tradition begin?
It's a wonderful story. We were doing Leader of the Pack at a club, a Bottom Line in New
Oh,
York.
yeah.
And Paul Schaefer in the play was playing Phil Spector, because I've known Paul for quite a long time also. And he had only been doing the David Letterman show, had been on the air only like a couple of years. And he invited David down to see the show. And we end Leader of the Pack with Christmas Baby, Please Come Home. I sang it with the greatest band, with the greatest singers. I mean, Paul Schaefer on piano, come on, give me a break. and David, that next night on his show, he said, that is the greatest Christmas song I have ever heard.
It is.
And he goes, we need to get that girl on this show at Christmas time. And the first year I did it, I thought, that's the first time I'm going to do it, and that's the end of it. And so, and then when Christmas came around again, they asked me to do the show again. And then that happened about 4 or 5 times. I said, wait a minute, you guys I want to do this show every year, but you got to figure out a way to let me know ahead of time, because that's when I'm working. That's when I do they said, don't worry about it. We know a year in advance when you're going to do it. So we'll just tell you, and that's what they did. They started letting me know almost 8 or 9 months before I was going to do the show. So what we started doing is booking our shows where I was close to home when it was time to do that show. I had no idea, Adam, that I would be doing that show for 29 years.
Wow.
I mean, that was not even in the plan. But see, I always say God knows the beginning from the end. He knew I was going to do it. So therefore, I had to keep myself in great condition. I get up. Listen, I like eating better just as well as me. And we talk about that when I talk to Patti LaBelle. We love to eat. But do I want to still do what I'm doing 20 years from now? Not 20 years from this now, but 29 years that I did the David Letterman show. So I try to eat right. I work out every day.
Yes, you sure do. I see.
5 days a week, I'm up with my daughter. We Zooming now, doing kickboxing. So one way or another, I love my energy on stage. I want to be able to do that energy, just like Tina Turner. Sorry. When she's on stage, she wants to give it all she has. And that's who I am. So in the interim, you got to take care of this. This is all we have. This is all we have. So you have to take care of it. And that's the whole idea.
You also have the second best Christmas song of all time. Okay. And that is Christmas Time for the Jews.
That is the funniest song. I actually put that in my show. What we do at intermission, we play the video. Yeah. There's no way we can redo it.
I mean, that song is a classic in my family. I'm Jewish. Look at me. You can tell. This was like, we must have watched that video 900 times. And the fact that you have the top 2 Christmas songs in my household, I mean, you're a legend. And how did that come about? Like, who asked you to do that?
The fans of the show. I knew a lot of the people on the show, the musicians, the producer, and the guy that write these songs said, we got to have Darlene to do these songs. And when I first heard it, I was like, should we do this? Are we going to offend anybody? You know what I'm saying? You always want to be careful. You don't want to offend. And it ended up being so great. They even play that song when it's not Christmas time.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's a true classic. Boys and girls, how lucky are we that we get to spend this time with the great Miss Darlene Love. Darlene, before you go, I want to ask you about that fantastic record from a couple of years ago, Introducing Darlene Love, which I know you put together with our pal, little Steven. You had this fantastic video, Forbidden Nights, which makes me feel so nostalgic for hanging out on the beach in the summer. How'd that record come about?
Steve and I met so many years ago. It's been so long ago, I don't even put the year on it. And he wanted to record me from the day he met me in California. And he said, I'm going to record you. I want to record you. He said, you need to come to New York. And I went, oh yeah, really? And I told him if he got me a job, I would come. He got me a job at the Bottom Line, who actually ended up being my home once I moved to New York, and at the Peppermint Lounge, which is no more. And I came, and still, that was like 20 years later, and still we didn't record. But then after that, he got the TV show. So he got real busy. And then he used to come and see my shows at BB King's. And he came up to us one night, the band and everybody. He said, I can't take it any longer. We've got to get into the studio. And he said, what are you doing Monday? This was Saturday night. I said, well, that's our day off. And he said, well, we're going to go to the studio. And then his other thing was, let's hope Bruce don't call and say he's going to work in the middle of this. And as God would have it, Bruce didn't go to work for a whole year and a half. So we were actually able to do the whole album without stopping, which
Wow.
was, breaks, taking off 6 months or whatever. Everybody was, and Stevie, I would tell you, probably one of the greatest record producers on the planet, especially if he knows the singer, knows what she sounds like, and knows how to record me. And it was like he got all the great writers together, had them write wonderful songs for me. And it was actually a blast. We did that album. I got the great background singers. He got the great musicians to do that album. And even today, people want, where can I find that record? Why get work? Where can I find it? Because it's a classic. It really is.
Well, all the tough cookies, for those that don't know, Introducing Darlene Love, you got to hear this record. You can buy it. You can stream it. It's fabulous. There's songs by Bruce Springsteen and Joan Jett and Elvis Costello and Little Steven. And if you really want to get nostalgic about the way summer was before this year, you can watch that Forbidden Nights video where you were basically recreating Shindig on the Asbury Park beach, right?
Exactly, it was, because my daughter is a dancer, and I always go to her when I need dancers or something, and she put the dancers together for that video too. So, it was a lot of fun. We were really at the beach, sand and everything, So it was great, especially to do it to Forbidden Night, one of the great songs that's on that album with Elvis Costello.
Miss Darlene Love, you are a treasure. I want to thank you for sitting with us today. I want to hear 30 more Darlene Love records. I cannot wait to see you on stage again. We have a lot of people that watch this show that are fans of yours, and some of them have gone through some very hard times this year.
Yes.
They have gone through hard times with losing loved ones, with losing jobs. We have a lot of people watch this program who have been out protesting and lifting up their voices for equality and justice in this country. Yes. And it would mean a lot to me if you could just offer just a few words of encouragement to our viewers to stay positive.
Wow, it's really rough for me. I feel so blessed because I pray a lot, I meditate a lot, and that there's been no danger or anything like that to any of my children. I have 3 children. I have 8 grandchildren, that they will all be safe, and that God would take care of them, that they'd be protected. And that's the only hope we all have. We have to be so careful. You have to take care of yourselves. No, we cannot go out. And I especially want to talk to the people who are at home by themselves. Just try, when you're feeling bad, put on something, a video of something to make you laugh. And there is a lot of things on television that you don't have to look at the news. See, that's another thing that's keeping us physically, mentally, and spiritually bound listening to the negativeness that's on television. You know, fix yourself something that you know you shouldn't be eating. Eat a half a gallon of ice cream. Go get one of Patti LaBelle's
Peach cobbler.
peach cobblers. I do it. I kind of whip myself after I do it. But you know what? There are things like us as entertainers have to go outside the box. Make a way to be able to go outside in your backyard, on your front steps. You know what I'm saying? The most positive things I can say, do not get depressed. Make it, just tell yourself, I am not going to be depressed, because there is so much going on that, you know, you have to think positive about all the things that's going on today. I'm not going to get caught up in it. I'm going to do what I have to do to stay positive. And that's what I really hope and pray for all my fans and all the people that are listening. Make yourself be well. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard. It's not, I'm not telling you to do something that is going to be easy. It has to be something that you have to tell yourself to not get caught up in that, because if you do, it's only going to make things worse. So I pray for my fans, and I want them to think positive. I know we're going to be seeing each other again. I have no doubt about that. And I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to Zoom you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to sing for you, you know, so just really stay positive. I have to pump myself up too.
We do. We do. But you know, if anybody needs a few words of encouragement directly from Miss Darlene Love, they can go to cameo.com/Darlene Love, and you'll sing for their hip replacement, their bat mitzvah,
Yes.
or whatever it is. Darlene, take care of yourself. I wish you nothing but health, happiness, success for you and your family. And I will see you at Christmas.
Back at you.
Love you. Thank you.
You're welcome.